Great day, great day. And it's a wonderful day of the week. It's not Thursday, though. I need a little bit more time to watch this again and absorb the show. But it is my favorite day of the week because we are talking about Star Trek Starfleet Academy, Season 1, Episode 9. The penultimate episode. 300th night. Yes. One more episode to the finale. We need more episodes of Star Trek in a season. Okay, this 10 episodes is not working for me. I need more. So, here we are, episode 9. We are coming to the end of the year. But wait. I forgot to give y'all the blurb. As the year ends, Caleb must choose between the life he wanted and the life he's built at Starfleet Academy. Meanwhile, Nala breaks protocol to keep her promise. Yeah. So you already know this is a Caleb-heavy episode. Because now we're at the end of the year. The semester, the first year of Starfleet Academy back at San Francisco, is over. Everybody's partying, having a good time. You see our gang come together one by one. Genesis goes through, dancing in the halls with the rest of the students. She grabs Sam. Then she grabs Darum. And then Caleb, who looks utterly reluctant to join in the festivities. And we're going to find out why eventually. But the USS Athena is heading to Beta Z for the dedication of the new seat of the Federation. And what could go wrong? All right, we start with Jaden having the bonding ritual to welcome his new friends, his new chosen family, into House Krog. And of course, everybody is down. And we have a couple little baubles in the ritual. Okay, Sam, of course, doesn't drink, but Jaden encourages her to just say the words and pass the bowl. And then, of course, this is where we find out that Sam wants to apply for a single quarters next year. And that kind of takes Genesis off guard. Because now we know that this is not the same Sam as we were introduced to in episode 1. So this Sam, she's like, having two of y'all in the room with me is kind of cramping my style a little bit. So I'm going to need to do something different. So, no hate to you, Genesis, or Tarima, but I'm going to need to be by myself next year for a second year. Because, So, while all this is going on, the bowl goes around, Genesis, Sam, Darum, and then gets to Caleb. Caleb refuses to partake into the ritual to be ushered into House Krag. And that's kind of rude. I didn't like that at all. He ain't had to do Jaden like that. He knows that Jaden practically sees him as an adoptive brother. Okay, much like his original brother, Tar. So, I didn't like that, Caleb didn't want to partake in the ritual. So, of course, he ducks out, much to the dismay of everybody there. And, of course, another little quibble. Where was Occam? Now, everybody was talking about where was Kyle. But see, Kyle is Jaden's boo thing. I think he sees his other cadet friends as family. Kyle is just the one he's messing with. But Tarima wasn't there, and neither was Occam, which was really strange. So that's a little quibble here I have for that. And speaking of Tarima, Caleb runs into her on a turbo lift. And of course, you can tell that it's very tense and very awkward ride on this turbo lift. And clearly, he's been avoiding her since all of the shenanigans of last episode. And seeing that this is now the year's end, so it had to have been at least a good 4 to 5 weeks since then for this to be the end of the semester, since the spring semester had just started in the last episode. So clearly they've been dancing around each other, not talking to each other, just keeping their distance. And and it's not even a will they or won't they at this point, because they've already have, but now it's just a matter of how can we adjust to what we've learned about each other. And I'm still having problems with Tarima still feeling like she's a freak because she saved everybody from the Furies. I hope that they take her to a counselor to work that out. Or maybe it's just that the new improved inhibitor is kind of dulling her to a point where she just doesn't feel anything. And it's like, okay. But you can still tell that they still have feelings for each other. That chemistry is still there, even though these two are being really bullheaded about it. So once the turbo lift stops on the floor, Tarima slips out, and Caleb slides down the wall dramatically. So while the festivities are still going on and the USS Athena is hurtling towards Beta Z, Admiral Vance pops in with some really distressing news. They finally figured out what Nustifer, Mr. Braca if you're nasty, took from that space station. Omega 47. And while that's bad enough, because Omega 47 is basically a small, nastier version of the Burn. And everybody hates the Burn. So if this stuff goes off, warp and all types of other space travel is disrupted. That's how nasty this Omega 47 is. But not only did Nustifer take Omega 47 particles, he's fashioned them in the mines. So now they're like, hell, what's he going to do with these? Okay, is he going to attack us directly, or what's he going to do? And of course, Nala knows that, okay, he will never do the obvious thing, so we got to figure out what is he going to do with that. So Nustifer did a little test run somewhere, and they saw how it tore up space and everything. So now Admiral Vance is like, okay, we're going to keep an eye on this, but we still got to head to Beta Z. We got to at least make sure they're protected, because that's where the new seat of our government's going to be. So, I'm going to need y'all to keep going, okay? Because we don't really want to alert the Betazoids to what could potentially happen. And of course now, because of this, Admiral Vance is pulling all Federation ships into the Federation borders. Now that's going to be important later. So he gives this little speech there to Nala and Kelrek. Kelrek, I'm assuming they left behind in San Francisco because he's flickering too. So Admiral Vance is at Starfleet headquarters, and I'm assuming they left Kelrek behind in San Francisco because only Nala and the group is going to Beta Z. So now they're going to talk about what are we going to do about this current development. Caleb, attempting to escape the festivities in his room, gets a visit from Sam, who just pops in unannounced. So they get to talking. And of course, we get the perspective of how new Sam feels. Sam 2.0. with both of her memories now intact, both sets, and she marvels over how naive she was. And yeah, she was. But Caleb reassures her that hey, she's perfectly fine then, she's perfectly fine now as she is. So they get to talking, and then, you know, she asks him, well, why was you acting so funky at the ritual? And of course, he's like, well, I'm still trying to find my mama. Okay, so I really cannot commit to another family until I find mine. And of course, he's still trying to find messages that she may have left, Anisha Mir may have left. So he's still trying to find messages. And then Sam relates something to him. It's like maybe the key to finding messages could be in what she thinks that 6-year-old Caleb knows or would remember of her, as opposed to 20-year-old Caleb. I almost called him Cameron again. So he thinks about that, and he was like, you know what? I might have been overthinking this whole thing, trying to find subspace messages from my mama. And then he remembers a memory from 6 years old, and then he decides, well, let me try this and see if this works. And ding! The pad now fills with 2 years worth of messages from Anisha Mir. And he's all like, damn. You mean to tell me I could have been found my mama? So he and Sam, sitting there listening over several messages, and then he figures out, okay, there's a message from 2 days ago that Anisha Mir is on Ukek, this planet that's way out from Federation space. And he figures, okay, so if she was there as of 2 days ago, then maybe I can talk to Chancellor Ake, get her to turn this around, and let me go get my mama. So he goes on to her office where, of course, she and Kelrek are talking over this new news about the Omega 47 mines that could be littering Federation space, and they not know it. And he overhears, oh, wait. Actually, let me rewind that back a little bit. On the pad where it says where Ukek is, the Venari Rawl has been noted to be in the area, and they are fixing to take that planet, to annex it for their ends. So, of course, he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go to the office and I'm going to talk to Chancellor Ake about it. Okay, so of course when he's asked to come in, and then he comes in, and then he stops and he's listening to Kelrek and Ake talk about, okay, the Venari Rawl is making all these blocks hot, so we got to pull everybody back within the borders, okay? We can't be mucking around outside of Federation space, because we don't know what the hell Nustifer is going to do. And he's all like, so he comes in and he goes, so the Venari Rawl are about to mess things up for any type of travel outside of Federation space? And they're like, yeah, And of course, Nala's looking at him because she's like, okay, he wanted something. And then he's like, nah, that's okay. I don't need anything. As you leave, at your leave, Chancellors. Blah, blah, blah. At your leave, Chancellors. So Caleb goes back out. Now, of course, Nala knows that, okay, something's not right, wondering what he's plotting. But she can't really stew too much on that, because Kelrek then asks for Baraka's psych profile, as if they don't know that man is crazy. But and a lot of people were sitting there fussing. It's like, why didn't he tell Nala that he found his mama and that he wants to go get her? I think part of the reason is that Kelrek was there. Okay, even though Kelrek was not physically there, I don't think he told Kelrek any of his business. So he figures if Nala was by herself or if Laura was in there, yeah, he probably would have said something. But nah, I think Kelrek's presence is what stopped him from saying anything about going to find his mama. So, of course, now he's a plotting. Because he's like, all right, nah, I got to go get my mama. I'm not with this. Whatever's going on with the Venari Raw, they can have it. But I got to go get my mama now that I found her. So, Caleb, of course, tells no one that, okay, I'm going to leave. I don't care if we're going to Beta Z at Warp. I'm going to get me a shuttle, and I'm going to go get my mama. So, of course, as he pops into the shuttle and hot wires it, Sam appears. Of course, as she's wont to do, she's like, what you doing? And I know you ain't going to go to UKEC without me. And he's all like, nah, sis, you can't come with me. This is something I got to do. I got to get my mama. But then Sam points out, well, okay, you can go get your mama, but I don't see how you're going to get this shuttle outside of this ship while in warp and to get to a transwarp corridor that'll get us to UKEC real quick. Okay? Now, if you don't have me here, you're going to die trying to take this shuttle out here. So, what's it going to be? What's going to be? So, Caleb was like, all right, sis, you got me. You got me. So, all right, you can come. Because she's all like, listen, I've been my whole life, my whole 2 lives, people have been telling me what to do. Damn it, I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to live something. I'm going to do some things. Okay? But don't tell my dad. So, right now, it's just him and Sam getting ready to go. And then pops Genesis. And the thing about it is, she's all like, what the hell are y'all doing? So now he's forced to tell them, well, you know what? I got to go get my mama. And she's all like, hell nah, we can't be doing this. And then, of course, a very drunk Darum falls in. So we got pretty much the majority of the team, minus Jaden and minus Tarima, whom he had in the halls on his way to this shuttle said goodbye to. And of course, and I'm shocked that she didn't think, okay, why is he saying goodbye? What is she doing? But of course, she doesn't get the clue until later with Jaden. Because in this shuttle now, we have Caleb, Sam, Genesis, Darum. A very drunk Darum. Who lets us know that Keonans can't process the enzymes in bananas nor alcohol, which was what Jaden was giving at the ritual. So he's 3 sheets to the wind, flopping around, and it's so funny. They are so funny. And of course, at least he's not vomiting glitter yet. Genesis, now cottoning on to Caleb's plan, she's like, listen, I'm going to try to grab Darum and I'm going to get up off of here because I'm not rolling with y'all to this foolishness. But Sam closes the door on her. So now, unfortunately, Genesis and Darum is along for the ride. Down to the trans-warp corridor, and then they pop up right by UKEC with a little glitter vomit to mark their presence there. Tarima, catching a clue, finally, goes to see Jaden. He's like, okay, where's your roommate? Where's he at? And Jaden is holding Caleb's pad that he left behind with all of Anisha Mir's messages on it. And then they're like, oh, hell, we gotta go to the camp. We gotta go down and talk to Chancellor Ake. Because this is not good. Chancellor Ake and Reno are in the office now discussing particulars about what to do at Beta Z when Tarima and Jaden roll in. And of course, they took one look and it's like, y'all look guilty as hell. What done happened now? Now is not the time. So, of course, they let Chancellor Ake know that Caleb done left. Now, I don't think at this time they knew that Sam, Genesis, and Darren was with him, but they know that Caleb done left. Now, here's the thing, okay? The Athena is supposedly an aware ship. How did the shuttle manage to escape being noticed while in warp, going out? Now, of course, I see now that, yeah, they're building on the fact that Caleb is brilliant. And then, of course, when you add Sam to the mix, there's not much he can't do. So now they've figured out a way to pop in and out of the Athena undetected while she's in warp. So yeah, Caleb's brilliant, but I think that either these students are too smart for their own good, or they don't have these systems in place like they should on the Athena. Okay, the gang is now on Ukek. And of course, Ukek is like, those seedy type worlds where Federation types are not welcome, nor do they tend to hang out there. So, of course, they have to bundle up. They have to hide all of their Federation gear. And Darren did not finish hiding the doggone comm badge. Why didn't he come? Come on, Darren, you know better. So, of course, to blend in, everybody's all hoodied up and masked up. And they decide, well, Sam and Caleb will go look for Anisha Mir. And Genesis and Darren are going to go find parts for the shuttle. Because, of course, they came in kind of hot. So they damaged some parts of the shuttle. Admiral Vance, now having been apprised of the nonsense that Caleb has gotten into this week, he knows that, all right, Nala is going to go get her boy. So there's no point in me telling you not to go after him, even though we got problems over here. So this is what I'm going to tell you to do. When you get the Beta Z, have Laura get all the cadets off the ship. All of them. And with a skeleton crew, I'm going to need you to go hang out on the edge of Federation space. Just hang there for a minute and see if you can find them. Okay? And if not, well, I'm going to let you do what you do. And then you hit me up on my private channel to let me know what's up. Because I'm not going to say nothing across the open comms. Okay? Because I know that I can't stop you from going to get that boy. So Nala agrees to it. He's like, okay, well, I'm going to offload these kids on Beta Z. And then Jet Reno is coming along. And so is the doctor. Because his daughter is involved now. Because doctor was like, wait, is Sam with them? And they're like, yeah, she's with them. So he's like, all right, why haven't we left yet? We got to go get my daughter. This is some bullshit. I'm loving the doctor and Sam now with their new relationship, because now he didn't even hesitate. He's like, listen, I didn't spend all this time to raise up that girl, and we are not going to lose her on no fool's mission again. Back to Ukek. Caleb is milling around, walking around, and then, of course, just so overwhelmed by the prospect of, okay, my mama is here. How am I going to find her? How am I going to find her? So he's just walking around, okay? He manages to ditch Sam, or Sam went somewhere. Because he's by himself now. He's walking around, hooded up, masked up. And then, he sees people, conducting business on Ukek. And then he's walking around the corner. All of a sudden, this woman rolls up on him with a knife. Who the hell are you? What the hell are you doing? And today is a good day to die. Who is that woman who rolled up on him, you ask? It's Anisha Mir. And how fortuitous that the person who she thought was following her turned out to be her long-lost son. So yeah, after they sit there and look deeply into each other's eyes, they'd be like, wait, Mama? Caleb? I almost shanked you, boy. But, everything's great now. They hug, they look at each other, and then she sits there and goes, my, you've grown. He's like, I didn't have a choice in the matter. I couldn't stay 6 forever. And then she's looking him over, and she's like, what happened? I heard you escaped. Yeah. And he's like, I heard you did too. And of course she's seeing things there, and he's like, well, things have happened to me. And she's all like, oh my God, I should have been there. And then he's all like, all right, no, we even got to do all the crying and stuff, okay? I found you now. So that's good. And we notice that, okay, he does not tell her that he's Starfleet now. Okay, so Sam pops in. And then she ushers in Darum and Genesis, who found the parts for their shuttle, albeit they're not the correct parts. And Anisha Mir has the know-how to create the parts that they need, while being so utterly suspicious of these people with her son. And of course, she's right to be suspicious, because, he'd be like, okay, you've been hanging on the streets all this time. And he'd be like, you know what? Let me look at your hands. Which is, of course, something that people on this world tend to do. They want to look at your hands. And they'd be like, your hands are nice. Your nails are done. And they're clean. And they're soft. Y'all ain't been digging on the dirt on this planet. Where y'all from? What's your set? And they're all looking at Caleb like, oh. And Caleb jumps in because he doesn't want it to be known that he's Federation now. Because understandably, Anisha Mir is not happy about the Federation and hasn't been for quite some time. Now, having offloaded all the other cadets and Laura on the Beta Z, Chancellor Ake, the Doctor, and Jet Reno, and unbeknownst to them, 2 stowaways, are on their way to the edge of Federation space to figure out what they're going to do. And here we get the first inkling of what Nustafer is up to. Again, the fact that Tarima and Jaden were able to hide on the Athena by basically tricking it not to notice them. Like I said, either these children are too bright, too smart for their own good, or the Athena needs to be upgraded. Because as Chancellor Ake goes, it's certainly a design flaw. And the Athena seems to have lots of them. So I'm going to need them, at least by season 2, to kind of tighten up so that things like this wouldn't just happen. Because again, you should have been able to notice that two cadets did not offload to Beta Z with Laura like they was supposed to. Anyway. Back on Ukek, Caleb and the gang are sitting there trying to formulate their way to get up off of Ukek before the Venari Raw show up. Now, Caleb is like, okay, you know what? I'm going to cut my ties with y'all folks because I'm going with my mama. Wherever she goes, I'm going with my mama. And then, of course, Sam, Genesis, and Darum are like, dude, we done went through all of this and you're just going to cut us loose like that? For reals? For reals? So, of course, Caleb goes into ultra asshole mode, okay, reading Genesis and Darum for filth. However, when he turns to unload on Sam, Sam just grabs him in a bear hug and says, you're full of shit. I know you don't mean anything that you're saying, and listen, we still love you even though we don't want to leave you, okay? And we don't want you to leave us. But we kind of understand you want to go with your mama. All right, fine. Go with your mama then. And then everybody's talking about, that's out of character. No, it's not. Not for Caleb. Because Caleb loves his chosen family, his found family. But he's now been reunited with his original family, his family of origin, his mama. Now, we haven't heard a single peep about who his daddy is, so I wonder if that's going to come into play later on. We'll see. We'll see. But that was just a little niggling little thought there when I was watching this scene. So, now they're like, all right, the Venari Raw are on their way, so now y'all got to get your asses up off this planet. So, Anisha goes, and she's like, I'm going to find us a spot for me and you. And your little friends, they need to go on back where they came from. Unfortunately, they get captured almost immediately. Because, of course, they didn't think to hide the shuttle or to make the shuttle undetectable. Because the folks on Ukek and the Venari Raw, who just jumped on there to snatch the planet, found the shuttle. So they was like, oh, okay. All right, there's some Federation folks around here. Let's sniff them out. And of course, like I said, found them immediately. So now Sam, Genesis, and Darum are in this town square. So they're about to get tortured for information and most likely executed. So Anisha and Caleb are going the other way, but Caleb is like, oh, hell no, I can't leave them like that. I'm sorry, Mom. I got to go get my peoples. I'm sorry. So yeah, because you know, he loves these folk. They was with him, down with him, after the most horrible points of his life. So nah, he's like, yeah, I can't let them go out like that. So Caleb runs back towards the square to try to figure out, okay, how am we going to get them out this mess? Having sent Jaden and Tarima to her office to stay, while all of this is going on, because there's only the three of them on the bridge, they're going to go now, because now they figured out, oh, hell, the Venari Raw are already here. But guess what? We found Caleb and the other cadets. Oh, and they found his mama. So let's go on down here and use this maneuver, to go on down there and scoop our people up, since they couldn't get them from long distance, because, of course, there's all kinds, the Venari Raw is blocking all types of transporter signals from everywhere on Ukek. So they're like, oh, hell, we're going to have to go in guns blazing. Let's go in and get our peoples. All right, the Venari Raw done smacked Darum around a good bit. Okay, and they threatened Sam. They'd be like, hey, if you leave, we're killing these other two. Because we know you're a hologram girl. And how did they know? Yeah, anyway. Caleb runs up, tries to create a diversion. And then Anisha Mir comes in to try to, smooth things over, try to figure some things out. And let's not, kill these folk. And then the Venari Raw lady looks at Anisha real hard and goes, don't I know you? And then as soon as that lady's like, don't I know you? That meant Anisha and Caleb went into action, went into formation. So they're trying to get all these people off of Caleb, Darum, Sam, and Genesis. But as soon as things look bleak, Anisha catches one in the side and goes down. The Athena shows up, lights up the place. And there's like, okay, we see our cadets and we also see Anisha Mir. So let's add her to the teleportation queue and snatch them all up. Real quick, real quick. And that's what they do. Unfortunately, the Athena is not quick enough to dodge the 3 Venari Raw ships that pop up after they come off of Ukek. They're tractor beamed in 3 ways by the 3 ships, and they're like, okay, what are we going to do now? Can we shake them? Can we do a new warp bubble? And Athena is like, not unless you want us all to die. Because, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. So now Chancellor Ake runs through all the scenarios, possible scenarios she could do, and then she comes to the final solution. All right, you know what? Pop the saucer. They got the nacelles and the atrium. But let's pop the saucer and get the hell up out of here. And Jet Reno was like, you're going to give them the pieces of our ship? And Ake is like, nah, Brock is not going to keep my ship. So we have to fight another day, but we got to get out of here now, right now. So the saucer section pops off, goes into warp. Of course, while they escape, the Doctor embraces Sam, his daughter, and says, girl, don't you ever, as long as you live, do this again. You hear me? Do you hear me? And of course, she's like, I'm sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry. Yeah, they're like, but don't, girl. And of course, he's able to save Anisha Mir. It was not that bad of a wound, and he's able to patch her up and get her going. Because I'm so glad, because I'm like, please, do not have us go through all of this trauma just to kill her. Can we not? Can we not? Let's let Anisha Mir stay alive, please. We don't need no more trauma for Caleb. Now, remember when Admiral Vance made that decision to pull all of the starships within the Federation's borders? Okay, so now they start to see more Omega-47 mines light up. And from what it looks like from here, it looks like they're surrounding the Federation borders. Now here's where I'm going to have to go into another quibble. Now, looking at this map here, okay, that Ake was looking at as she was going about trying to rescue Caleb from himself. Okay, so all these mines that Nusterford done cooked up, okay? Now you got, it looks like all these folks are in a bubble. Now, I'm wondering if these little blips are actually Starfleet ships. And this right here that says United Federation of Planets, and that one dot, is that Beta Z? Because it would make much more sense for them to say that these mines are bordering Beta Z and whatever other planet is within that spot where almost all these people are. Unless Nuss just put like a bubble in the middle of Federation territory. Because I'm sorry, space is vast. There is no possible way that he could have boxed everybody in. So I'm going to fan wank that he just put mines around Beta Z and all the folks who are around Beta Z. Because, of course, this Omega 47 is nasty enough to just create a brand new burn, to just destroy subspace and transwarp travel all the way across. So I'm going to say, they could have said that these mines were surrounding Beta Z and the fleet that's around Beta Z now, because that's pretty much where the majority of them are. And then you got all of these dots outside the realm of the mines. So it would have made more sense for them to say, okay, they're going to attack Beta Z, because that is the seat of the Federation. And if you get rid of the seat of the Federation, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. So we would have to know, okay, they would have to blow this up for me to know that this is endangering the entire Federation as opposed to, taking out the center. I would say the center of the Federation. Because where's Earth? Where's the Starfleet headquarters? Because remember, Vance is not on Beta Z. Neither is Calrac or the War College. So that's kind of a little bit, they could have lowered the stakes. It's not, this threatens the entire Federation. And you have these mines all along the borders. Because I'm pretty sure the Federation's borders is not this small. We're in space. And this here was a different one showing all of the mines. So while they're pussyfooting around, playing around and doing all kinds of other things, Nustafer managed to put millions of mines around Beta Z and whatever else is in this area. Because I need to know, okay, so you got the Venari Rawl over here. All right, this Kardashian space over here. Okay, and what does that look like? Sarah something space up there. So yeah, I'm going to have to get a picture and they're going to have to blow this up for me to show the vastness of that. Because everybody can't be in this bubble. Everybody can't be in this bubble. But now they've seen what's going on. And where the hell is Starfleet intelligence? What are they doing? What are they doing? Do we have to go back to Section 31 and have them be whipped back into shape? What is going on here? How was this able to happen on everybody's watch? But that's my main quibble about that. So now everybody's boxed in, Federation-wise, except for the Athena. They're outside of this bubble. And it's looking pretty crazy. It's looking pretty crazy now. Because now it's like they're by themselves on the outside of these mines. So they're trying to get Vance. Of course, he can't answer. Because I'm sure the Venari Rawl have cut off all communications. And Reno is throwing out a distress signal. Because again, it's just the Athena. Outside of all of that nonsense that I showed you. Oh, but that's not the biggest explosion that's yet to happen. After leaving the folks on the bridge, the cadets and Jet Reno, now Ake has come to face one of her greatest mistakes in the form of Amnesia Mirror. I had to pull that out of my mouth because it's trying to jumble the words up. So now this is going to be a humdinger of a conversation, if there is one. Because now she's sitting there like, okay, Starfleet done saved my life, but damn. Not only am I back in Starfleet custody, as it were, it's by that same heifer who sent me to jail. And of course, she's really not going to be happy once she realizes, okay, Caleb is pretty much in cahoots with that woman, with that heifer. Because the look on Anisha Mears' face, ooh, she's like, oh, this last episode, okay. We're going to have a little tete-a-tete between Ake and Anisha Mir, okay? For the heart of Caleb. For the heart of that boy. Because she'd be like, man, you took my son from me. And I'm going to try to give your son back to you. But there's also something not quite right with Anisha Mir either. So we get to see, all right, what's going on. I mean, what's the real deal between her and Mustafa? And the funny thing about it is, even though Mustafa was not in this episode, his presence was very much felt. So now, I expect Paul Giamatti to come and chew all the scenery for the season finale. So yeah. This was a banger. It was, But yeah, they just got to tighten up on a few things. And of course, the Athena's security needs to be tightened up too. Because So hopefully, Ake can get the rest of the Athena back in not so many pieces. Because I'm not even going to sit there and say in one piece. Because I'm pretty sure Nuss is going to try his best to try to pilfer what he can from the nacelles and the atrium and the school before he decides to set his eyes on Nala again. But yeah, I think Anisha Mir has something to do with this. Because we saw how brilliant she is. We were told how brilliant she is. So I'm pretty sure she has something to do with those minds. I can't think that she let Noose think that she was dead 2 years ago when she broke out of prison in Goja 5, and she didn't immediately run in with him. So, because that Vanari Raw lady looked at her like, oh, I know this bitch. So, I'm going to say right now, hopefully they won't kill her. Hopefully Anisha Mir won't sacrifice herself. We got to figure out what the mystery is and what her part is in it and how Caleb will be able to go on with Starfleet Academy. So, yeah, I enjoyed this episode. Live long and prosper. Can't wait for next week.